Hi, I'm calling this video the unknown tension, or another possibility is the real genealogy. I believe that folks are trying to work out their issues and trying to do the right thing a lot of the time, but our family issues, our family unresolved issues, our real genealogy becomes an unknown tension in our lives that we're not aware of. Hi, I'm Andrew Holzman of Family Tree Counseling Associates in Carmel, Indiana. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist with 30 plus years of experience. You can contact me if you wish at aholzman2, that's Holzman 2, at comcast.net or 317-457-8668. Be happy to take your call or your email and talk to you about relationships or individual counseling, therapy. Please give me a call or an email if you're so inclined. I read a story when I was younger by James Blish called Surface Tension. And in Surface Tension, it was a science fiction story in which a group of explorers crash on a planet and they are doomed. They know they are doomed. And they're there to seed planets. They're there to take the possibility of the planet and create life. Now, what they end up doing is completing their mission, and the individuals they create don't remember who they are. They don't realize the history. They don't know anything about the humans who created them. They're small beings who live in a small amount of water, and they're trying to get through to the surface. At least a brave one is. But it's interesting because when the story shifts to talking and showing the people who are not really people, but the intelligent beings who are working this through, they have the personalities, they have the engrams, they have the ways of acting as the original humans, but they don't remember them. They have no sense of that there were other beings who created them. And this is very much like what we go through in some way. We don't know much about our ancestors. Even if we go on something like Ancestry.com, we know the dates and we know what they did and we know some things about their life, but we don't know the personal interactions. We don't know who they really were and how they really acted unless we have really good personal family histories. And even those probably don't extend too far back. So what we're dealing with is this reaction that we're having a lot of the time to things that's based in not just our experiences of the moment, but is based on the traditions and the engrams, in a sense, of our family, what has been bred into us. And it's easy to realize that our parents affected us. We know the issues and the addictions and the traumas of our parents and probably our grandparents, but not much further back than that. We don't really know the personalities. We know things about them. We don't know a lot of the history of their family interactions and who they really were. And so, of course, we know about our parents and our grandparents and how they've affected us if we're insightful, but their parents affected them and their grandparents affected them. And so scholars of family systems believe there's at least 5 and possibly as much as 10 generations that are showing up when we're doing our work, that are when someone walks into my office, they're trailing behind them so many groups of people, so many families and so many family issues that have just been built up that have in some way will show up and come out. For instance, I had a client years ago, a young lady who, unbeknownst to herself, was working out the issues of her grandmother. Her grandmother, in a time when it wasn't natural to be independent and to be a strong woman, was doing that and trying to do that, but then ended up not doing it, not being as independent as she wanted to be. And so the mother wasn't like that, but this young woman was working out some of the same issues that her grandmother was trying to work out. I mean, in a different way, but it seemed very similar, and that's why I'm mentioning it. Things like trauma, alcoholism, those things show up in families. You may marry an alcoholic if your a parent was an alcoholic. You may become an alcoholic or a drug addict, or you may become someone who's just totally against any kind of addiction. The difficulty is if we try to just forget about those issues and forget about our feelings related to those issues, it probably and invariably in some ways shows up in the next generation, shows up somewhere down the line. So you might be a teetotaler because your parent was an alcoholic, a drunk, but your child may be working out that issue and become addicted to something, meth or heroin or alcohol anyway, or marry into that. So these issues just don't go away as much as we want them to. And that's kind of the beauty of therapy in a lot of ways, is we want to expose those issues, reveal those issues, so we have some way to be aware of them and put a name to them and take care of them. Doesn't mean they go away, it just means covering them up most of the time makes it worse, because you can cover it up for a while, but at some point it comes out, whether in this generation or the next. Like I said, it's many generations that we're dealing with, and traumas, suicides, homicides, addictions, they all seem to show up. They seem to dog certain families, and they dog certain families because somehow, in some way, they have not dealt with it. They just keep covering it up and moving on, which sounds healthy. Most people want to just move on. I can't tell you how many times I've heard someone say, oh, I'm over it, I put it behind me. And their life shows that. They've become successful, sometimes despite horrendous circumstances. They've become healthy members of society. Those issues, though, will show up. They will show up in your marriage. They will show up in your kids. They will show up in your family somehow. So we're not talking about job success or, friends as much as we're talking about the family system, which is very sensitive to genealogical issues that get brought down from generation to generation. And that's the point of all of this. There's that tension, there's that unknown pain that we deal with. And we're not aware it's a pain. We may not be aware of it. But if we're thinking about it, if we're thinking about it now, if we're trying to deal with things that are not going right in our life, it's worth considering that, well, there's more to your life than just the experiences that you're having and that you've had. There's more to your life than just what you know a lot of the time, because you've been programmed in a way, trained in a way. The role models that went before you affected you strongly, even without you knowing it. And that's the point of therapy sometimes, is to bring that out so we're aware of it. And if we embrace that idea, if we embrace the idea that our experiences are not the sum of us, that there's more to us that we need to talk about, then with that awareness and with that insight, then you have a chance to change things. You have a chance to look at your life in new ways and go, okay, this is going on with me. This is really powerful. This is kind of my history, and this is what I need to work on and what I need to work through. So this is just a little brief overview, including a little bit of a science fiction story of the real genealogy and the unknown tension that goes on within us. Thank you for listening. My name is Andy Holzman, 317-457-8668, or aholzman2@comcast.net. Again, thank you.